Welcome to another Hebrew lesson. In this lesson, I will show you how to count the numerals from 1 to 10 in Hebrew. I will also show you how to pronounce the numbers and how to write the number names in Hebrew. Lastly, I will cover how to count correctly with reference to the gender of the noun. Using Hebrew numbers can be tricky sometimes, even for native Hebrew speakers. This lesson will answer all your questions. Before we start, let me give you a short introduction to numbers in Hebrew. It is important to understand that numbers in Hebrew are used and pronounced depending on the gender of a noun. If abstract numbers, meaning you just state the number names with no specific reference, like counting from 1 to 10 for example, the numbers 1 to 10 will have the feminine form. If cardinal numbers, meaning you count something, the numbers 1 to 10 will have a certain inflection, depending on the gender of the objects or people the numbers denote. In addition, I will cover more information regarding the correct way to count in Hebrew as the lesson progresses. In future videos, I will cover counting the rest of the numbers the correct way. One last thing. In this lesson, I will not cover how to count from 1 to 10 in ordinal numbers, meaning when you point out the place of someone or something in a list or a group. I will create a separate lesson for this topic. Let's start this lesson by counting abstract numbers. When we pronounce or write abstract numbers in Hebrew, remember that we do not count anything. We always use the feminine form of the numbers. This is also true when we use numbers in math, like 5 plus 5 equals 10. That said, we can now go over the numbers 1 to 10 and see what is the right way to pronounce them in feminine form, without counting any noun specifically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I remind you, this is the feminine form used when not counting anything specific. Another common use of the feminine form in Hebrew is when the noun has a number attached to it. Let's see the following example. House number 5. The house has a number attached to it, in this case the number 5. Now we want to say it in Hebrew. In this case we use the feminine form, even though the house is of masculine gender in Hebrew. Bait mispar 5. You can see that the 5 is like what I demonstrated above, in the feminine form. So the point is, when a noun has a number attached to it, like house number 5, room number 3, etc., we use the feminine form of the numbers 1 to 10, regardless of the noun's gender. So far, we learned how to count, pronounce, and write the numbers 1 to 10 with abstract numbers in the feminine form. There is also a masculine form for the numbers 1 to 10. Let's see how do they look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Since with abstract numbers we use the feminine form, you will most likely not see this form unless in construct state, when you count or denote masculine nouns using this form. To conclude abstract numbers, we now know that there are two forms, one for each gender, and with abstract numbers we use the feminine form. Now let's see what changes when we count nouns, meaning cardinal numbers. Here it divides into two scenarios. The first, when we count definite nouns, and the second, when we count indefinite nouns. To clarify, when we count the noun or a noun. Since we are counting nouns, we are using the construct state number names. Let's see how it works for counting indefinite nouns. The noun I will use is a table, a masculine gender noun in Hebrew. Later I will cover counting the feminine form nouns. These two divides into two sub-scenarios, 1 table, 2 tables, and between 3 to 10 tables. 1 table, shulchan, echad. Shulchan is table. Notice that the word 1 is different than the feminine form. This is the masculine form of 1. Since we are not working with abstract numbers, the gender of the noun changes the name of the number accordingly. 2 tables, shnei shulchanot. A short aside. When in construct state, we use shnei. In a separate state, when you just need to use the masculine form of the number 2, you say shnayim. For example, the following question: how many tables do you see? The answer is 2. The word tables is not pronounced, only a single number name. In this case, we say שניים, not shnei as in construct state. The 3 to 10 number names in this section are the same regardless of the construct state. 3 שולחנות, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. To conclude masculine indefinite nouns, except the number 2, we use the masculine form regardless of the construct state form. Still with indefinite nouns. Let's take a door, for example, which is a feminine noun in Hebrew. Again, I'm not counting the 3 doors, I'm counting just 3 doors. 1 door, דלת אחת, the same as the abstract number name. 2 doors, שתי דלתות. Notice the difference between the masculine and the feminine form of the number 2. As you can see, similar to the masculine form, when counting feminine nouns in the construct state, the name of the number is changed from שתיים to שתי. שתיים is the abstract feminine form of the number 2, שתי is the construct state form. The rest of the number names in this section are the same regardless of the construct state. 3 דלתות, 4 דלתות, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To conclude feminine indefinite nouns, the number names above look the same for the construct state and the separate state except for the 2 doors example. Now let's move on to definite nouns. I will stay with the tables and door examples so you can compare the differences. In this case, it also depends on the gender of the noun we are counting. Same as before, we will use the construct state form since we are counting nouns and we are pronouncing both the noun and the number's name. So I'm counting tables. A reminder, a table is of masculine gender in Hebrew. 1 table, we just say השולחן. Like English, you say the table, not necessarily the one table. 2 tables, שני השולחנות. Now, let's see the numbers 3 to 10. 3 השולחנות, 4 השולחנות, 5 השולחנות, 6 השולחנות, 7, 8, 9, and 10 השולחנות. To complete the definite noun example, we need to see the feminine form of the number names. If you remember, we already discussed it at the beginning of the lesson. Back to the doors, our feminine noun example. Remember, we are counting definite nouns. 1 door, we just say הדלת, the door. Like English, no need to say the one door. Just the door is fine. The 2 doors, שתי הדלתות, שתי. Notice that the difference between the indefinite and the definite form is only the ha prefix or it's matching the in English. 3 to 10 doors. Since a door is of feminine gender, we need to use the feminine form of the numbers, and those are the same as the 3 to 10 abstract numbers form I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson. Now, specifically for this case, the nikud for 3 doors changes and with it the pronunciation. Let's leave it here, I don't want to overload your brain with details to the point you miss the important knowledge. So, to conclude what we have learned, the big 3 parts to take away from this lesson are: 1. How to count abstract numbers, both for masculine and feminine genders. 2. Counting definite and indefinite nouns. And, for each scenario, the masculine and feminine variations. This can be a lot of material to process. Take your time, practice, and don't hesitate to ask me any question regarding this topic. There is also a lot more to cover, like numbers, 11 and above, ordinal numbers, and more. I will create separate lessons for more numbers. That is it for this Hebrew lesson. Leave me any question you have in the comment section below. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. By now, you know a lot more about Hebrew numbers and how to use them.